afternoon, it's Sunday afternoon. I haven't been doing many videos recently. I'm still doing my tidying up, and I've decided to do some tidying up in my shop. Moving things around, getting things organised a bit better for winter, naturally. Working on my bench, I'll show you another video on that another day. Yeah, it's been really hot and humid. The first take of this, when I played it back, was terrible. My camera lens kept fogging up. It's about 30 degrees and about 82% humidity, so it's not very pleasant. So what have I been getting up to? Well, like I say, now I've got everything out of my containers and moved around, I'm finding in the other container at the back of my shop, which a lot of you know about, is getting empty shelves. So that gives me an opportunity to take things out of here and put them over there. Brilliant. It's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. Yesterday, though, was one of those days which was one of them jobs that you don't really want to do, but well, you've got to do it. And that was replacing this flexible joint on Deborah's Volkswagen. It's one of those new Beetle things. Horrible car if you ask me, but never mind. It had snapped off here and here, so you can imagine the noise, and she's going on a little vacation shortly, so I didn't want the exhaust to fall off. So the daft bugger me said, that won't take long. 5 hours later I got it done. What a pig of a job. It's got a 4-bolt manifold that goes, your manifold's got a 4-bolt flange on. Well, the problem with that was that the studs and the nuts had got so corroded that was just little points. It's a 2006 and you couldn't get the nuts off, and the bolts were, the studs were finished. So I ended up cutting them with a little cutter like this. Got through quite a few blades because you're flexing them all the time. You've only got an aperture sort of like this to work with, and of course out of that aperture it's around about that deep. So you're on your back trying to get up there. I'm glad I've got my lift. Anyway, I got the air chisel and chiseled the flange off when it dropped off, so that's good. So we managed to salvage the flange, and then again cut the rest of the studs off because there was no way they were going to come out. And then I got a little die grinder here. Now these bits here, I'm going to show you where they come from. They come from Amazon, but the company who makes them in China is really good. Let me go and get one out and I'll show you. These things here, Tayata. Now, I don't get any sponsorship for them, but they're the best die grinder bits I've seen for a long time. They say on here, made to last, designed in the UK. That's the only thing we do, design things, we don't make things. But they're cut so well. On their Amazon website, on the little shop front, you've got one of these cutting through a spanner, a key, just cuts straight through. I thought, I'll have some of them. So I got 5. I've had them 8 months and I'm still on my first one. Really good. So what I did was, on the flange where the little stud was flush, I then put a little dimple on the end here, and of course you got your gear on, your glasses and your gauntlets and everything. Really awkward. And the reason for that was I couldn't reach in to put a centre punch in to drill them out. Well, then I got a next problem. The drill wouldn't go in, and I didn't have a drill long enough to get to the flange. And I didn't want to take off the subframe, drop it down to get some more room, because I looked around it, I thought, oh my god, that's going to be a nightmare to take all them bolts out just for that. So I got the plasma cutter out. Now the thing, there was a dimple in there. I aimed the plasma cutter and I put the tip right on the end, just pulled the trigger, and it blew a hole straight through the flange. It's only a sort of about, I don't know, about 6mm flange. It wasn't all that thick. Now when you got that, then I got some more die grinder bits, like, because I've got 2, and I just kept prodding and poking the hole, and eventually I got it through, and I got it through to make it this diameter so I could put an 8mm bolt in with a bit of clearance, and that was good. Yeah, it's one of those tools, those die grinders have got me out of a lot of trouble in the past. you know. But after that, it wasn't too bad. The only downside was we went to Canadian Tire to get a flexi. It wasn't quite the same as this, but it had a piece of steel coming out and about a piece out of here. So I had to compensate for that. What a mess about it was. But my biggest problem was I welded the new piece onto the flange, because it didn't matter which orientation it was, because there wasn't anything on this end. And so now I've got that bolted onto the car, onto the engine, and I've got an existing catalytic converter to go on here. So I couldn't lift it. I was knackered. I was sweating like a pig. So I was trying to lift the catalytic converter up and do a butt joint at the same time. It doesn't work. So back in the shop, so if you can imagine, this piece here is sort of stuck out of there like that. I got another piece of pipe a little bit smaller that was a snug fit in here. Cut a sleeve down, cut a little section off, then put a slit in it so it was like a spring, and then it would spring hold in here, and then with a MIG welder tacked inside so it wouldn't move. And then you had something that you could butt up together, because it would slide over that joint and hold it in place. So that allowed me to get on with it. 5-minute job, eh? I was on it 5 hours. Oh, I was absolutely furious. And to make matters worse, I got it finished at 5 o'clock on Saturday. Bloody liquor shop stopped shut at 5 o'clock, and I was getting for a Jameson's after that. Anyway, I got chatting to Deborah. She was upstairs doing a bit of cleaning up for me while I was doing her car. She says, that's maybe why they wanted $600 to change that pipe. I said, next time, let them do it. So, again, she's going to go on holiday. She's going to go on a little vacation for a while, so I wanted to make sure that was right. And whilst I was underneath it, I noticed the CV boot had gone. Amazing, eh? So I've got to do that before the 16th. What else? Oh yeah, oil change on it. Usually I don't like to touch oil changes on them VWs, because it's got a shield underneath it, and well, it's a 2006, so you can imagine how many oil changes it's had. And over here mechanics don't know what torques are, so all the bolts were missing or cross-threaded or whatever. And anyway, I used to say to go and take the garage, it's like $39 to get your oil changed. So when I was under the car, I had Deborah come down and I says, who changed the oil on this last? Oh, she says, the garage was going to do with the exhaust. I says, come and have a look. They had to put the shield back on. So the thing about those VWs is they've got hoses and things dragging, and pipes and wires, all sorts underneath. That shield's kind of important because they're very low to the ground. So I said, well, you know, you're going to your brother's place and it's all ruts, like, you know, farmyard ruts and things like this. I said, that you don't want to pull a pipe off, so it looks like we're going to have to go to the scrapyard and try and find one. Amazing, isn't it? So that's what we've been up to. Clean-up's been going good. I found some interesting bits and pieces. You know, well, just little bits and pieces. Some of them might be of interest. So if anybody's interested in bonnet hinge bushes, these are Bearmark ones. I got them years ago. I don't know why I've got them. But I've got packets of 10, and I'm going to do them for $5 a piece. $5 a pack, not each. $5 a packet. I know you only need 2, but you might lose them and they might break. Like I said, they're Bearmark branded, and I have quite a few. So if you want some, I'll put them in the shop, because then it'll be able to work out the shipping kind of cheap, because I don't know where you're going to go. And also, if you want to add some to your order, doesn't make much difference to weight. I think they're about, the cheapest I saw them were about $1 Canadian a piece. So I think for $5 for 10 is a pretty good price. I've got some other bits and bobs I found on my travels. I just need to organise things. I thought about doing a Sunday sort out today. I keep looking up there, see if somebody's in my hand. I was going to do a Sunday sort out today, but I was so knackered yesterday and I couldn't be bothered. But yeah, no, I'm getting organised a bit better now. I've got a lot more room in here. I've got my like you said, I put my airline up there. It was at the other side of the shop. Lord knows why I put it over there, but that's now nice and practical because it's a retractable one. And I've just ordered today a retractable extension lead, so I don't have bloody wires all over the place. I don't know why I never thought of it earlier.